that's the real win, is moving on rather than having that anchor that everybody knows is there, everybody recognizes it, nobody likes it, but it's continually dragging them down. The real value is enabling the organization to move on to whatever's next.
I didn't align with this ethically. I did not think this was the right strategic. I was being put in place as an axe man, right? And I didn't appreciate that.
I messed up my back a while back or something, and my brother-in-law asked what I did, and my son was like, aggressive sitting.
Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh Show. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Metacasters, if you've watched the show for a while, you may have heard me mumble a song by the maestro, the man, the legend Kenny Rogers, called The Gambler. And in The Gambler, there's a chorus, and I'm going to sing it for you. Yeah. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. There we go. So that's our intro for today. Now, that's rather than insanity, what does that have to do with leadership? Well, I want to talk about, I was thinking about, it's not all roses and unicorns in leadership all the time. We're happy I'm getting promoted. They're giving me tons of bonus and stuff. I mean, sometimes that happens, but sometimes there's like rough edges. Sometimes you have conflict. Sometimes you hate your boss. Hate is such a strong word.
That it is.
but you do, or despise, or whatever. And so knowing when to, it's your journey, it's your career journey. So knowing when to hold your cards, like stay pat, knowing when to fold them, maybe change jobs in a current company or something like that. Look for a reframe. Know when to walk away. So now you're looking to, is this the right place for me? Am I in the right situation? Do I need to find something else? And then knowing when to run is, there's a lunatic with a machete coming at you called your boss or the CEO or whatever, and you need to run out. You need to leave. Hey, sayonara. See you later. And the other thing is, sort of not counting your winnings, but like taking it later, not shoving things, like having a little bit of reservation, right? Not shoving things in other people's faces, but having some reserve, having some subtlety. So I'm wondering if, like journey mapping, if Josh and I could share some stories that might map to this, knowing when. So I'll kick it off to buy Josh some time, because I can see that
Well, I have a slightly different spin that I'd like to try on for size.
I will take any spin whatsoever.
Okay. Thinking of it like a game of poker where there's always another hand, right? There's always another hand. And so I think of applying those same thoughts of, do I stand my ground? Do I opt out? Or do I need to run away from this idea, this initiative, this change I'm trying to drive within the organization? There's times where it's a thing you believe in and you feel like you're swimming uphill, but you have to stay in the game. You can't fold, because as soon as you fold, it's over. So I think of it also as a good analogy of the ups and downs of you as a leader trying to drive change. That not every change that you drive is going to be a straight flush, right? There's going to be some hands that you're sweating it out, and is it going to work? What should I do? And there's also some times where there's change, or there's an initiative, or there's something that you're pushing that you get halfway and you realize, this is not going to work, and you just need to run away and kind of accept, okay, cool, I'm going to play the next hand, right? And just always thinking about the next hand.
So yes, I love your twist, but there are times where you got to leave.
Yeah.
Right? You got to leave. So I'll start with one. I took a job once. Interviewed, real excited. QA, director of QA for an organization. I was out of work, so I wanted dev leadership or QA leadership as a backup. Took the job. And it was leading a team. There were some offshore folks. There were some onshore folks. They were looking at an automation program. I was real excited. I actually knew one of the managers. I'd known him for a long time. And I was sort of excited. And not sort of, I was very excited. Diane was excited. She's like, get your sorry butt out of the house and work rather than be unemployed. And walked in the door, and I think it was on afternoon of day one, morning of day two, somewhere around there. The SVP pulled me in, and he's like, Bob, we've changed our strategic minds. We want to offshore everything. So we want to take all of the testing that we're doing here, we want to fire all the people onshore, and we want to move it offshore. And I want you to do that. And I hadn't heard any of that in the interview, Josh. So it was build a competency center.
Yeah.
And then it was, no, we're gonna whack them all, and it'll be you. And I said, oh wow, that's an interesting twist. I really appreciate that. Thought about it overnight. Came in on Wednesday, and said thank you, but no thank you. I'm not going to do that. And I think I resigned on Thursday. So I lasted 3.5 to 4 days in that job. Came home to my product owner. And she was incredibly sad. She wished I would have holded them, I guess, or something, or but not run away. But in my mind, the most congruent thing I could do was run away. I know that's an extreme thing, but it's a real example of, sometimes you encounter a hand that you don't. Maybe it's like ethically. This was. I didn't align with this ethically. I did not think this was the right strategic. I was being put in place as an axe man, right? And I didn't appreciate that. He should have talked to me about it. If he would have talked to me about it, we would have had a wonderful discussion, and then I would have decided to take the job with those constraints, right? Instead of like surprising me with that. So to me, that was not the only option was to run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any reactions?
I've had a similar situation like that where I was asked to do something like that and I just opted out similarly. It's just like, no, like I'm not going to be.
Oh, and I didn't have a big bank account.
Yeah.
I didn't, and I'm laughing about it now. At the time, I was not, I was not a happy camper. Mm-hmm. Right? It was not an easy decision to make. It really wasn't, because we were, I had been unemployed for a little while, but at the end of the day, so that I only bring that up not as a downer, but that's an example of maybe one of those runaway kinds of situations. They're rare. They don't happen that often. Why don't we get back to one of your things, like the hold 'em fold stuff? Do you have any examples of that in your back pocket?
Yeah, like from an initiative perspective, there was one time where I had built a new space and our team was growing, and the way that we had seated everybody, it just felt, I don't know, not good enough or something. I wasn't happy with it. So I came up with this idea of how we were going to restructure everything, and we were going to take an afternoon, and everybody had their own tables and with on wheels and all that stuff, and there was power everywhere. So
was this the dude?
This was it, the dude. And so
right.
one fateful afternoon, I said, okay, we're going to rearrange our desks. It's going to be so much better. This is how it's going to work, and this is how it's going to shape up. And so everybody was like, okay, sure, whatever. We'll give it a shot. Like, if you think this is the right thing, they bought in, like, okay, let's do it. We got halfway through, and like I could see the look on everybody's faces of like, this is a shit show. Like, what are we doing? This is not going to work. This is not going to be any better. So like halfway through that move, I was like, okay, clearly I was wrong. Clearly all of you see that I was wrong. So let's not continue the charade of trying to go through this adjustment. Let's put it back to the way it was. This, maybe this was like the grass is greener on the other side, and we got halfway across the road and realized, ooh, we were wrong about that. So yeah, that's like, I still remember I was standing in the corner, kind of watching everybody trying to make it work. They were doing their darndest, and it was a good college try. And I could see everybody just not too slowly, but I could see the realization come across like waves of people's faces of like, this is worse. But they still were like, okay, well, Josh said we're going to do this. We're going to give it a shot. It was just like, okay, I was wrong. Let's undo everything. And sorry I've wasted your afternoon. So,
can I yes and to that?
Sure.
So at Eye Contact, we were moving from one floor to another floor, and we were growing, and so we had this wonderful opportunity to buy new desk space, reconfigure it, and buy the configuration, right? So set it up any way we wanted. We wanted to set up pods, so 10-person pods, and we needed like 20 of them or something like that. And we did some trials. We did not demo. So the idea was we wanted personal space and shared space. So we had these. So around the pod were these. We planned on these. You ever see those library cubes, Josh, where you sit in a library cube and you have two little panels of wood to either side of you? You pictured this with me?
Yep.
That was our unique space idea. So we had those, and then we had like stuffed chairs and a big old oval table and wonderful chairs there, and you could pivot back and then pivot into your space. And we did a little demo, but we didn't demo it enough. We didn't get everyone to try it. And then we blew, I don't know, $1 million or something, some huge sum of money on this shit. And we had people, like, we had to reconfigure the networks and the floors, Josh, right? So so networks, telephone, it wasn't just, and then furniture, and set it up, and we set it up, and we populated it, and people were like sitting like this, and they were like chipmunks, and it would be like if I'm looking visually at you and I, this is our office space. I need to see your head right here. So they didn't even. It lasted a day, and there was a rebellion. It was freaking. It was like, no, what the hell? We're not chipmunks. What the hell is this? And it was just this roar. And we bought it. We actually had to blow another $1 million. I know. I'm laughing now. But the CEO was going nuts. And he didn't have any choice because it was stupid. It was like this stupid configuration. So we had to like go out and actually build something that was humane for everyone. It was funny. And just so that was a fold-up. That was a hard fold-up. Would you buy that? Yeah. It was embarrassing. We had to order the stuff, and it took like 3 weeks, and then folks had to come in and assemble it, and there was assemblers.
Yeah.
And it was just an absolute disaster. To our credit, the one thing I give us for credit is we were at that crossroads where suck it up or oops, and we're going to make it right. Yeah. And we decided to make it right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was that tough hand of like, well, I can stay in the hand.
Yeah.
Maybe, there's like a 5% chance that next card comes up the one that I need, but it's a really low percentage.
No, I know.
I could keep playing that game or do the smart thing and fold and just live to play another day.
I'll never forget that. And then we did a retro, which we probably shouldn't even have done. Right. We did a retro on it, right? And we should demo the next time. Well, there won't be unless it's 10 years from now, we're probably good or whatever it is. So we had our shot and we blew it. So there's not much retroing around that. We should have set up a real space and made everyone sit and try it out, right? And ask and then adjust. Yeah. There wasn't even enough space for some of the screens, Josh. Right?
How did? Well,
I know.
Okay. We covered that.
Can you now smart devs, right? I mean, devs are smart. right? And then there's smart asses as well. I mean,
Yeah.
they were all. It's like right, people bringing it. Did you? Oh, there's this thing called a. There's a ruler you could use.
But there are some leaders out there
Oh,
that would just like,
no. There's actually quite a few leaders.
yeah,
I think out there who would not have folded.
right,
Right. Not they would have doubled down on that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, from a pure expenditure point of view, not just the money. It's embarrassing to say we screwed the pooch like that, right? It really is, like really.
yeah. Like, as I was thinking about how to kind of weave this back into the story, it's like there's times to be stubborn and there's times not to be stubborn. And what is the differentiator of when you're being appropriately stubborn? Yeah, I think it gets down to where Bob started, where there's like a moral obligation of like, yes, it's harder for us to do it this way. I know it is, but this is the right thing to do. This is the proper thing to do. And then there's times where, to Bob's point, yes, it's a lot of money, but it actually makes things worse. But there are people that are stubborn around. A decision was made and we're sticking with it. It's my decision and I can't be seen as wrong or whatever it is. But there's times when you do have to hold that line and you have to say, this is who we are. This is who we're going to be. This is how we're going to operate. And I think it is around those words. I don't think it's about like any of the ancillary stuff that Bob and I just talked about. The seating, the spacing, the labeling, the naming, like people put a lot of weight on that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Just like make it reasonably good. So yeah, I think that's the challenge that a lot of people have is really knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. And there are times when you need to hold them and it's hard, but you got to do it.
Well, we've talked briefly in the Metacast many episodes ago, I think even before we did the leadership switch, about sunk cost thinking. Mm-hmm. And there's this notion of, right, and it's sort of a metaphor that a lot of leaders struggle with. Well, we've sunk so much into this that they hold on to it. You see it in products. We've sunk so much into the design of this product. We've sunk so much money. It's not just, it's money, it's thought leadership, it's marketing, it's time. We've been working on this for 5 years. And it is money. It's sunk, We've sunk the cost into this. And it's really hard to move out of sunk cost thinking and to let it go and to release it and say, this is the decision. We need to fold it and move on, right? We need to go to the next hand, like you were saying early on.
And I think that's the key, is moving on. And that's the real win, is moving on, rather than having that anchor that everybody knows is there, everybody recognizes it, nobody likes it, but it's continually dragging them down. The real value is enabling the organization to move on to whatever's next, as opposed to always being drugged down by whatever it might be.
Well, and when I was originally thinking about this, I was thinking about it as being a metaphor for career. I mean, at some point as a leader in a career, you need to look at, how am I navigating, how am I holding them and folding them, and how am I playing the hands, and then do I need to walk away from the job, right? Am I not in it? Is my head not in it? I was just coaching someone the other day, and they ran into like, they had conflicting leadership. They were both trying to strategically do transformation. The CEO was directing both of them. There was the chief people officer, so HR, and then this transformation person. And the HR person was getting defensive and thought that they were trying to take their job. So there was conflict, mostly driven from the HR, the maturity of the HR person. And this was going on for months. And then finally, organizationally, they had to make a decision, and they cut the other person. They went with the HR person. But the leaders had created that problem. That would have been a case on this conflict to realize, hey, you know what? I've been folding them a lot, and now I need to walk away. As a leader, our time at Teradata
Mm-hmm.
is indicative of that. There was walk away Bob, or no, this characterized
There's Runaway
this way.
Bob.
No, I was going to change it.
Yeah.
There was runaway Bob,
Yeah.
and there was walk away Josh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were playing that, and then deciding when enough is enough, and understanding that from a career point of view. And there's some folks that really struggle with that. You and I both work with people that should have walked away 5 years ago, 10 years
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they just stay. And my heart goes out. I'm like, you are the most miserable. You hate this job, but you can't. You're holding them in actually, you're probably folding most of them, right? You're folding most of the hands. You're not happy playing. You're not winning the game, but you're not willing to walk away. And how do you make that pivot?
And I'm not going to say every because I can't vouch, but most of the people that I know or that I've coached or that I've talked to that are in that position know it.
Oh, yeah.
And they see it
Yeah.
and they accept it, but they continue to remain there. And there's times where, like, I don't know what else I can say. I don't know of any other coaching I can provide you. I
No.
don't know of any other guidance that I can share or any stories that is going to get you over making that decision, because ultimately it's going to have to get down to you making the decision. And, I think the hard part is people are waiting for something to happen as opposed to taking action and
Well,
making it happen.
They're waiting for some wonderful winning hand to plop in their lap, but it's not going to happen. And so, and they're hoping for that. The other thing is they're complaining. I was talking to someone the other day, and they will remain nameless, and it wasn't Josh Metacasters. So, and they were just complaining and complaining and complaining. And I said, I am tired of listening to you complain. You need to either shut up. This was not, so Metacasters, this is not a coaching note. This is a frustration note. So don't do what I'm saying. But I was like, you need to just shut up and be happy where you are, or you need to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're in this between point. And I'm just absolutely exhausted listening to you, bitch and whine about it. Just suck it up and get in it. If you're going to stay there forever, then go embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Embrace it somehow. Embrace the misery. Whatever you have to do to stop. Because they would repeatedly complain about the same things.
Yep.
All the time. And I'm like, either, if it's a marital couple, either renew the love for your spouse or get divorced. but stop whining about it.
Yeah. Yes.
So
That is very common.
in this song, I think there's a make a decision aspect to it as well, right? If you're in danger, like if you're playing, Kenny is a wise man, and he's like, if you're in the danger zone, you need to walk or run, right? You're in the danger, like you're playing poker with some miserable people, and you take their money. There might be weaponry coming out, so don't sit there smirking, right? You need to excuse yourself and run towards the door with your winnings, and on to the next. And the other thing is on to the next game, right? On to the next. There's always another game out there that you can play. Josh, any other reactions? Josh went with this. I brought up this idea, and I think we're squeezing all the juice, and it had limited juice to begin with. My bad. And I'm trying to squeeze more juice out of it if there's any in there. Any more juice, Josh?
Yeah. Just to really drive the point home, Kenny's given you 4 actions to take, and none of them is really like just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
It's take definitive action, and that's how you play another game, and you keep playing more games, and opportunities do fall in your lap. But you do have to take some sort of action. You have to do one of those things. Otherwise, you're just stuck in a revolving door.
In nowhere land, at a table with a sad look on your face.
Yeah. And a dwindling pile of chips.
Pile of chips, exactly, which isn't a good thing. Hey, everyone, I want you to listen to the song for me, as a way of closing this episode. So Kenny Rogers, and the song is "The Gambler." And you don't have to listen to that. He drones on a little bit. In those old songs, they would have the chorus, and they would sing the chorus like 5 or 6 times. You only need to listen to the chorus once, and then you'll get it. And then really reflect on where you're at. How are you playing your game in your organization, in your context? And should you be taking some Kenny Rogers-esque actions? So, from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina.
And beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North Carolina.
I'm Bob the Gambler Galen.
And I'm Josh Anderson. Just ready to move on from this song.
Shake
and bake.
Take care, y'all.